this country for the next 11 months and hope that there will be a country after that. The greatest question to Kenyans today and always is, which way Kenya? Are we going to allow our country to burn? Because it's clear, we have begun that path. Or are we going to allow our country to be destroyed? We must answer that question with a resounding no and follow it up with action. The action is we will sit together and figure out what legal way do we go forward, what do we do. All of us who are interested in the stability of the country, political power and all these things are secondary to the lives of our people, to the stability of our nation. Kenya is much more important than any one of us. This is something we have to think and act about. Thank you. Crispin, yeah, I'd say it, we are good. And I mean, unless there's something burning on this particular subject, please. We are having a retreat, an opposition retreat on 24th and 25th of this month. And among other things, of course, we are going to discuss the electoral environment and what we need to do as we go forward. And we are going to try to reach as many Kenyans as possible within the leadership and decision-making community. The focus being, my brothers and sisters, and many of you who are here at this press conference are young people, smart, very well-educated people. Do you actually think this is the way we should run our country? Do you think this is the way we should manage our country? I mean, how? You know, I've said before, by the way, this is something I need to point out. You know, when we comment about things, and like myself, I take time to study all reports that have been written on Kenya in the countdown to elections, predict that we are going to have violence. The Kofi Annan Foundation, I mean, the report is now public, you can see it. I saw the other day a report that was done by private investors from EU are interested in Kenya. I even made reference to it in an interview I did another day. All of them are raising issues about the security of the country and the stability of the country going forward because of these wounds and the level of crime in the country. And I have talked to some ambassadors, I've met some ambassadors, they too are equally concerned about the way we are managing our country. Not necessarily in the build-up to elections, but the general attitude of the government towards the management of the country. You know, when you look at our leaders and the kind of speeches that come from their mouths, it's shocking. You wonder whether we live in the same place. And I'm saying this with all the seriousness I can master. We are destroying our country. We are destroying our country just for purposes of politics. The president and the government are playing, you know, just for survival. And then because of that, anything goes. We can't lose lives day in, day out on simple matters. I mean, I've often asked the question, if you come from Kiambu, for example, or you come from Muranga, and the UDA leaders came there to have a public rally, why should you interfere with them? They're not carrying away the residents of Muranga, they are leaving them behind. You can also come back and talk to them. So if Linda Mwananchi was going to Homa Bay to have a rally, they were not carrying away the residents of Homa Bay. They were coming to talk to the residents of Homa Bay. They go away. The residents of Homa Bay would be there forever to be talked to by anyone else who wants to talk to them, including their local leaders, to convince them and tell them that what Linda Mwananchi was telling them is not right or wrong, whatever the case may be. That's how civilized people behave. Is that a good enough reason to cause the level of mayhem we saw? So we have a problem. You know, let's stop these pretenses. We have a serious problem. And it's abundantly clear the government has chosen, the president and the government have chosen this as a way of life. Because there is no way, I can tell you, trust me, I have been a minister of security. There's no way that scale of work could happen without the knowledge of the president. Because the president is briefed, you know, regularly when these decisions are happening. So, and I've said before, I know these people. I know the Inspector General of Police. He was my GSU commandant for the 5 years I was a minister. Kaja was my GSU commander. He's a good police officer. I can't understand what is going on. It must be politics that is interfering with what they're doing. The question I keep asking myself is, I mean, what is it that is causing you to sacrifice even the years of your career and the service that you have rendered to this country to ignominiously and very miserably come to the end of your career in this kind of manner? Because when consequences and accountability is called on this kind of matters, all of you know what happened at The Hague. You know, when the warrants were issued, they went to the individual leaders. They didn't go to government. They went to the individual leaders, including those who were in government at that time. And you should meet General Ali to tell you about that experience and how frustrating it can be. So let's be responsible people. What has happened this weekend is horrible for a country of our size and so on. So for the foreigners, that is it. Everyone is surprised about why we are destroying our country. You know, to be honest with you, and I was telling some colleagues of mine the other day, you know, the level of responsibility in our society and moral responsibility is very, very low, especially when it comes to issues of politics. When it comes to crime, there are only two types of people. There is an offender and an innocent person. There is no tribe. There is no Kalenjin, there is no Kisi, there is no Kikuyu, there is no Luo. You are either an offender who has committed a crime, or you are an innocent person. Now, very basic things like those, you know, are always ignored, and sometimes the temptation, like I can see, is to try and introduce, you know, ethnic angles and innuendos to conflict, so that you can split up the opposition and split up people in the opposition. And to your point more specifically, yes, it is this mobilization by politicians and paying people money that goes into this. Wananchi, on their own, really have no problem. I mean, they have never had problems all along. All these people, how many times has James Orengo gone to Homa Bay? We've always been visiting and working with these people. Why is it a problem this time that his motorcade has to be stoned, returned, and so on? I mean, how many times, honestly, let me ask you, how many times has James Orengo gone to Homa Bay in his life? It is this transactional politics where people think that to inflict violence and pain in the manner in which they are trying to do is the only way of asserting yourself, asserting you know, your authority, which in my very honest opinion is very foolish. Because, you know, if you are leading people, you should care for their lives first and foremost. Because when you have killed them, who are you leading? And in any case, as I ask this question, if you pay those people, those guys who are paid, those goons who are paid the way they are paid, running around and so on, terrorizing everybody, when they are done terrorizing your opponents, what will they do? That's why I keep telling these leaders that, you know, it's essentially you are living in a fool's paradise. Because this unexplained hubris, because of political power, I tell people, it comes and goes. Wengine tumekula salute sana, lakini we are here. Tumeangalia hii maneno, na hiyo salute utakula, na siku moja utashangaa vile you basically bure kabisa after, you know, you have messed up people and done all things. What are you going to tell your children when so many lives have been lost in the manner in which it happened in Homa Bay yesterday? You are turning people against each other because of politics. It's very primitive. But it's upon you, good people. Let's work together and save our country. For me, I'm interested in, let's talk about our country first, positions and anything else later. Thank you very much, and do have a nice day.